Hello, my name is Elisangela, and I have the honor to have a friend of mine, Patrice Taylor, today. And the reason of having Patricia is that I want to letting her the opportunity to share a few lessons that she has learned through these last days. We just met few days ago, I would say, during the Maxwell conference. She was my roommate and has been such a blessing in my life. So I definitely felt in my heart that her journey has many lessons, and I want to let others the opportunity to share, to learn, to listen some things that she has in her heart. So, Patricia, welcome. Do you mind to introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Elisa. It's an honor to be here. I'm very, very happy to be able to share this space with you. Um, so just a little about me. My name is Patrice Taylor. I live in the Bahamas, and I'm speaking to you now from the Bahamas. And it's amazing how God connects us, that there are no boundaries and no limits where He's concerned, right? I mean, here it is, you're in France and I'm in the Bahamas. A little about my background. I am a part of the John Maxwell team, and I'm going to go into how that happened a little more as we go through. But I'm a mom of four. My husband and I have four children. I would say young adults. Um, 30, 26, 23, and a 17-year-old. So I have young adults. What I do, I am a consultant, HR consultant. I'm from an HR background. Professionally, that's what I do, as well as I'm a coach and trainer and speaker with the Maxwell Leadership Team. Um, what shall I say about Patrice? What do I love to do? I love track and field. That's something you wouldn't know about me. You wouldn't think so because I can't do any sports, but I love it. I love sports. I love to watch sports. Elisa found that out about me. Love to watch sports. I'm a sports enthusiast. And one thing that you'll always want to remember about Patrice is that I love the Lord and I don't hide that. And so as we go along, I'm sure as I share more about my journey, you'll find out more about me. So Elisa, thank you for this opportunity, and I'm excited about what we're going to share today.
My honor, my honor. Indeed, she loves sport. I can tell you, I never watched so much sport as with her at night in our room. Yeah, and I feel so glad because she allows me to watch this amazing match with Serena Williams. So I'm not
Yes.
that upset at all of this opportunity. Thank you. But yeah, indeed, today, what I'd love to tell you is because one of the things that many things impressed me in her journey, but indeed she was fighted in a such a way that is the way that we didn't appreciate in a 3 minutes call. But what seems to be losing something was indeed the beginning of something new. And that's what is the word, if I would say that the word that makes me remember Patrice is new.
Hmm.
You also shared about Isaiah 62, that there is many words that will encourage your new journey. So I'd love you could share because many people could feel disappointed after this pandemic time, through COVID. How many people have lost their jobs? How many people feel devastated, losing people, losing jobs, or worst, losing hope? And you
Absolutely.
have faced a new season, a new beginning that make you sparkling, you are shining. So could you share with us a
Oh,
little bit?
absolutely. I would love to share my story with you. So, we all went through COVID-19. And like Elisa said, all of us, I believe everybody can say that they lost something, whether it was a loved one, whether it was the loss of income, loss of a job, loss of relationships. COVID there were a lot of lockdowns, and a lot of families came together under one roof, and they realized that we don't have relationship, and a lot of marriages were broken. So there was a lot of loss. But one thing that I always like to look at is the good behind what seems like pain, right? I believe that there's always purpose in pain. And I hope that that's what will come forth as I share my story with you. So, like I said, I've been in the HR field over 25 years on one job. I've been in private banking. I worked for a Swiss bank, a large Swiss bank for almost 30 years. And I'd spent about 23 years of that in the HR department. Loved HR, realized that this is my calling. This is where I'm supposed to be because I love people, and I like being able to add value to them. And that was a great opportunity for me. But I'll tell you, I want to give you a context before I go into what really happened. About 3 years prior to 2020, I'd say from about 2017, 18, 19, I started to feel, yes, I still like what I do, but I feel like there's more. There's more. And what is that more? I just couldn't put my finger on it. What was that more? And I actually started putting out resumes, looking for another job, and I kept hitting roadblocks. The interview would go so well, but I kept hitting roadblocks. And finally, one day, I realized that my desire to do more and this feeling of being unfulfilled on my job was starting to spill over in the way that in my attitude. And one day, my supervisors even said to me, "You're not the same person that you used to be." And I heard that and I realized, and like I said, I love the Lord, so I have to make sure my light is shining. So my lamp was starting to go dim. And so I had to fix that. Couldn't put a label on it, but I knew I had to fix that. So I just want to leave that. I'm going to put that on the side for now. I just wanted to let you know that. So here it is. We're working from home. It's November 2020. And I had said to my husband that morning, because I realized I was getting more of a demand from outside people asking me for advice on HR issues, asking me for advice on small business, they wanted me to help them out. And I said to my husband, I'm loving this, but how am I going to do this with my job? I have a full-time job. How am I going to do this? And his words to me was this, it's going to work out. God will work it out. That was that morning of November 3rd. That was about 8 a.m. And about 11:30, the phone rang. Same morning. And it was my CEO and my direct head on the phone. "Hi, Patrice. Not many pleasantries. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we have to make a business decision, and 12 people are going to be sent home, and you're going to be one of them." Same morning, about 3 hours after my husband and I were having that conversation. And I said, "Okay." And then, we'll be in touch with you in another week regarding what's due to you, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so I saved the call, and it was 3 minutes and 3 seconds. And I said, wow, a 23-year career at that company. And I get a phone call saying, "You're fired." That lasted 3 minutes. Now, my first reaction was, I immediately remembered the phone call. And why I remembered it too, right before that, I immediately remembered the conversation with my husband. And right before the phone call, I was speaking with my mom. And I said, "Mom, I feel like something great is going to happen today." I said, "Something wonderful is going to happen today." And she said, "What is it?" I said, "I don't know." And do you know, my mother said, "You think you're going to get the call today?" I said, "I don't know." And while I was speaking with her, I said, "Mom, there's another call coming through." And that was the call. So God had prepared me for that. He prepared me for it. And so my initial emotion was, aha, that was a breath of fresh air. My 17-year-old son, I remember, he said, "I don't understand why you're rejoicing. You just lost your job." And I said, this is all God. Now, I won't lie to you. In the weeks that followed, I started to feel like, ooh, what's going on? There are stages of grief. And so I started to go through the stages of grief. The second guessing, is it something that I did? Then I went through, oh, they didn't treat me fairly. Then I went through, what am I going to do? God, you have to hold my hand through this. I knew what I was called to do. but I started to feel fear. And that's what happens sometimes. We know that we know that we know that we know that we are on the right path, the path that God has chosen for us. But when it starts to look different, when it starts to look like, oh boy, this is not what he promised, then we start to let doubt and fear take over. And I went through that. And I would not sit here today and tell you that I haven't had those moments even recently. But there is something that brings us back, that has to shift us back to the point where we know that we know that we are on that course, that even though the trials and the tribulations come, we have to stay that course. And so on December 1st, I joined the John Maxwell team 1 month later. And I'm so grateful that I did that. And even that is a story in and of itself, because I got a phone call inviting me to join. I don't know how they got my number, but when I heard about it, I knew it resonated with what God placed in my heart to do, to go out to reach more people, to be able to add more value to people, you know, to share my story and to build people up and to create leaders, to reproduce leaders. You know, that's why we're here, not to be successful, but to be significant, to leave a legacy of significance. And that was the word that I got at the recent Maxwell Leadership Conference. That stuck with me. Significance. Yes, I've had a very lucrative and successful career, been well paid and all of that. I was successful, but now God has shifted me from this focus of success into significance. Significance means that I am walking in my assignment and I'm bringing some people along with me. Significance means that at the end of the day, when I'm not here, others' lives would have been changed because I was here. That's what it's about.
Amazing, amazing. And you know
Yeah.
what? In the between this all, you came from this situation of um, having nothing except your promises, I would say, you know, for starting a new journey, being training to become something that you knew. But there is in the between, there are a new enterprise that will be born. There are names that will be given to you, isn't it? Do you mind to share a
Yes.
little bit? Because I do believe that something that can inspire many lives as well is just, you know, listening, because you're not looking for something, you're just receiving. Promise that were gave to you many years before you will start, isn't it? Share a little bit, Patrice, please.
Yes, yes. So I have this habit that I've gotten into where right before I have another birthday, I spend a week before preparing myself for the next season. And that's a time where I like to kind of hear God. So I remember is about 10 years before. And if I tell you what my age was then you're gonna guess my age, so I won't tell you. So it's about 10 years before I was reading and I was reading Isaiah chapter 60. And it was about and I almost want to take one quick second and read it. I'm sorry. It's just one line. Okay. I want to read it. Um I was reading and I came across this word, and it was in Isaiah chapter 62, 62, verses 2 to 5. Okay, so here it is. I'm reading, and I came across this thing, and it said, you will no longer be called forsaken, nor will your land be called desolate, but you will be called Hephzibah, and your land Beulah, for the Lord delights in you. So that word stuck out to me, Hephzibah. And I said, I'm going to write that down. And I said, it means that God is going to shift some things for me. And you see, why that stuck out to me, it says, no longer desolate, no longer forsaken, because for so long I felt forsaken. I suffered from rejection. I always felt like I was the one who got the short end of the stick. How many of you can relate to that? Like, why me? Like, when is my turn going to come? I'm forsaken. And so when I got that about Hephzibah, I said, oh, this is a word for me. But then 5 years came, 6 years came. I said, I remember this word Hepzibah, but I don't see any difference. When is this going to manifest? Until I decided to launch the business, working with someone who was trying to get my business license sorted for me. And he said, you're going to have to give this business a name. And I said, well, I don't even have a name for it. Driving along the highway, oh my God, Hepzibah, Hepzibah. I will give you a brand new name. Hepzibah means my delight is in her. And it goes on to say, no longer will you be forsaken. You will now become sought after. My God. How many of us know that every time we call a name, we are really pronouncing what that name means? I am no longer desolate. I have been set free from that feeling of being rejected and forsaken. I am now sought after. And so that's the name of my company, the name that God gave me to name the company. It's a long name and sometimes it's difficult to pronounce, but I know the meaning behind it because see, I know about feeling rejected. I know about feeling like, when is my turn coming? When is my turn coming? And
Amazing.
God gave me my turn. Sorry, God gave me my turn out of what people would have thought was going to crush me, was going to kill me, was going to cause me to lose it. But that disappointment, when the curtains came down on November 3rd, it was in order to give me a brand new name.
Amen. You know what? This enterprise, this company with name Hefsiba, that means my delight is on her. When did you start this officially?
Officially on December 1st, 2020. Yes.
Just
December.
a few days after after
Just a few days. Yes.
when you were
Yes.
joining Maxwell Leadership, there is something being born. As I say, I call this like you can become pregnant of something, you know. You join and say, I have a baby who is starting right now in my womb, in my
Yes.
head, in my heart. Could you help me to put it in place? So I'll appreciate to hear that through this journey, you're starting a new company, you become a businesswoman, what is definitely not the same thing. And it's important, I really want to put in here because we may have competence to be a trainer, to be a speaker, to be a coach, to be a consultant, a facilitator. We may have this competence, but when you become an entrepreneur, a
Oh,
business woman and man, this is a huge new way. And this new journey, you need people who knows more, who sees more, who knows how help you instead of trying, to find how make a proposal, how can I find clients, how people that I
yes.
exist, things like this. So you've been on this journey, trying to build this new company. You mentioned before people were already aware of your abilities, your competencies, and they were already calling you for help, but probably for free. And now Patrice
Yes.
is charging for receive the same kind of advice. So it is indeed a new journey. So another question I have to you is, what has been your biggest challenge that you have in this season of becoming an entrepreneur?
Very good question, Elisa. My biggest challenge initially was myself. Myself. Um, I knew that I had been given a platform. I knew that I had been given an assignment, but I was standing in my own way because I was not trusting what God had already placed on the inside of me. And so I had to remove the blinders off of my own eyes. I had to trust that the vision that I had, I was equipped to run with it. There's a scripture, Jeremiah 29:11 says, only be bold and courageous. Well, I had no boldness. I had no courage. I had a word, but I didn't have the boldness nor the courage. And so I had to, and nobody can help you with boldness and courage. You have to dig deep and you have to pull that out of you. You have to pull it out. So that was the first challenge. The second challenge was I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. And the best thing when you don't know what you don't know is to find somebody who has walked that road ahead of you. And so what I did was I sought out mentorship. I have a very good friend, a dear friend, who has been the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. She is from the Bahamas and she lives in the United States. And so she was my go-to first and foremost. I called her the minute things happened and I decided I knew which area I was going into, and she was the one holding my hand, setting me up on LinkedIn, doing things, helping me to do things. And then colleagues in the HR field, another very dear friend, Shanta, who helped me, to get the branding out. So again, these are people who I didn't know what to do. They knew mentorship. And then when I joined the John Maxwell team, I joined mentorship, proposals, how to do it, material, content, all of those things, how to really launch the business and work the business, how to build my people skills, and all of these things. And through these people, even now you, Elisa, sorry, sorry, even now you, Elisa, have become that for me. And there's a scripture that talks about iron sharpening iron, right? And that in itself speaks to the fact that we cannot do this. We cannot travel this life alone. We cannot. We have to always seek out the support, sorry, of people who have gone ahead of us. There's something that says if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, right? You've heard that before. And so I never want to be the smartest person in the room. It's a daily, daily, daily quest to learn more and to seek out those that know more. Mentorship is
Amazing, amazing. And so you are really sharing things that I think we need to remind ourselves, that this journey can be according to a calling. You can be, sure that this is your journey. God has promised you, given names, and this season is there. And even though the narrow is still that narrow door, that door is still a narrow way, and you are struggling with yourself first. That's the reason why we say that the leadership is something that we study and we train mainly because we have to be leaders in ourselves, learn this, develop the leadership in us instead of
yes.
saying, I'm going to be the leader to others. No, my friend. Start
It
with you.
starts
Everything
here.
starts with you. And it is through your change, through your improvement, the things will become real. The second is to be humble, because when you see that you don't know what you don't know, it's just
Mhm.
having a teachable heart. Then in such a way that you are there, listening, paying attention to others, say, I don't know what is coming next. I know that someone inspires me, and this girl is in mentorship. So you jump on this thing, whatever it is, I'll
That's right.
follow this and I'll be there trying to find someone who helped me through this journey, trying to ask you for help, as you said, allowing me to be vulnerable, saying, I don't know this, When
Yes.
you have this long career, sometimes you say, I always was the one who have the answers. Now I have questions. How can I deal with this? Could you help me with that? And this environment, thank God that we are able to be vulnerable and feel loved and still have our worth, know that we are valued in order to consider like, who is this girl?
I
The kind
know.
of questions he's asking. Every one of us has questions to ask. Doesn't matter how
Absolutely.
long we are on business, isn't it?
Yes.
So just to conclude this amazing, I told Patrice, this can't be the last discussion. I
No.
want to share with you many other wise and journeys that we have just having, and we are learning, sharing. That's our goal,
Yes.
not teaching anyone, just share. So Patrice, I know that this last week has been another turning point in your life. You mentioned already about significance and success, things that you've been aware. But do you mind to share with someone, or maybe ask questions that you have received and you're wondering, helping you yourself to grow? How those people were listening us, and maybe they're not even Maxwell leadership environment, and say, okay, how all this sharing can bring something useful for me? What do you have in your heart to say to someone?
Mm, mm, mm. Yes, absolutely. Elisa, one thing I didn't share as yet was the way that you and I connected. And I think this is an important lesson. I took the lesson and I'm going to lay it out there for those of you that are watching. I was in mentorship on a mentorship call. And one of the things as we prepared to go to the IMC conference was our mentor was saying to us, Chris Robinson said to us, you want to make the most out of every opportunity that you have. And here are 5 things that you can do to make the most out of your experience when you go to the conference. He said 5 things, but one thing that really stuck with me was this. He said, get a roommate. And I said, what? No, I can't room with someone that I don't know. But there was this tugging in me that said, that's for you. And out of obedience, and that's the word there, out of obedience, I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. And so I reached out, put my name in the chat, and it turns out, long story short, Elisa was the person that I connected with. And it's so amazing. I got at the hotel, checked in, walked away from the desk, and walked past this lady. And out of the side of my eye, I said, that looks like my roommate. And I turned around and I said, are you? And as I said, Elisa, she said, Patrice. And our connection happened at that very moment, at that very moment. And as a result of that, something shifted for me. I learned something about hearing and then obeying, and about moving outside of my comfort zone. That was a second lesson for me. Here it is, entrepreneurship was already pushing me outside of my comfort zone. I had been used to the security of a job for over 30 years. And here I am, me, in this big wide world as an entrepreneur, hopefully touching lives for a very long time, not just where I live, but globally. That's one thing. And then I put myself out there through obedience and said, I'm going to connect with a roommate, end up with somebody from a different part of the world that I would share a chamber with, a room with, and that I would learn and grow from, and that I would come to respect and to love as a sister from another mother. And so outside of our comfort zone, there are things that await us. There are assignments that await us. There are people that await us. Some of them await us to pour into us. Some of them await us for us to pour into them. And so my question that I would leave with you is this. When are you going to take that step, the next step, to come outside of your comfort zone, to trust yourself? Remember, I had to learn to trust me first and to trust the God in me that was my assignment. When are you going to take the step to jump out of your comfort zone, do something different, something that you know deep within, taking that step, that's the next step. Because there are some people, some opportunities, some experiences that await. We cannot get there if we are stuck in comfort. So the question is, when are you taking the next?
I love it. I love it. And you know why about it? She's talking about, you're talking about obedience, about listen to this inner voice, about being, going outside your comfort zone. And one of the things that I appreciate in your example is that you mentioned you were already outside your comfort zone, going through this new journey of business. And in this journey, through this way, you have to pay attention to this inner voice, because there are many, could be proposals, partners, things that will come, and have to say, is this the right person? Is this where I should spend my time? Is this a partner I should collaborate with? Things like this. There are huge
Yes.
questions. So how to start listening the right voice? And that's what I love in her example, is exactly this. Because she gives us an example that is a small example. I mean, let's to be honest, if the things didn't work out right for us, between us, we would probably say we're going to split. We're not spend
Exactly.
a week together. That's for sure. I mean, we take risks, but we are wise enough to say I can split. Doesn't matter when. You know.
That's right. That's
Easily.
right.
So that's what I love. Is that what I want to encourage you exactly is this. What there is one thing that I'm going to share with those who are listening to us. You know, I've come from a Christian path, but there were moments in my life that I don't even wanted to say anymore that I'm a Christian because I was so ashamed of my behavior. I was doubting even, does God really exist? You know, not going to church anymore. So look, but there is one thing that I decided that I would try to keep was reading the Bible. So this is something that I said I will check. You know, I will verify by myself. So
Yeah.
I there is something that happens when we read this book, at least it's with me, is that there are moments when the words come and I had the impression they're written for me. And
Mm,
that's something that I started feeling. I felt something inside of me, and I knew it was for me. It was like it was just for me. Doesn't matter if I've read it before. And
mhm.
that's the way I start to say, I think that this is what it means listen to God. Because there's moments I'm listening to something. So each moment that outside these moments of reading the Bible, and I felt that idea burning inside of me, like the moment that I was reading the word, and I said, this is God. Because that's the way he was talking to me. And this allows me to say, I will obey. I would make a test. I would try. I give him a chance. And even if I don't understand, and I can tell you many times through my journey as an entrepreneur, particularly these last years, have been moments when I'm telling him, I don't understand why. I don't understand why you are telling me to do this. It doesn't make sense. And worst, people around me are saying, are you sure? So they are not helping me at all because I'm
Yes.
feeling alone on my journey. Said, is this wrong? Is this right? And then I
Mhm.
decided to ask, is this God? So I tell you the best way to keep it living this outsider comfort zone, as Patrice said, and listening to this voice is please try in the small things in your life. Really, I decided to ask God to guide me in small steps. Definitely. When I start having this huge vision, huge
Mhm.
things, I decided to ask him, show me small details. When I'm picking up my kid at school, I know my way home. And I decided to ask, is there any new way you want to show me? You
Yes.
know, just
Yes.
trying to listen to this voice in small details, you know, and say,
Mhm.
just in case he could hear me. And I started having these ideas. That's how it comes in your head. Why not take another way? Why not try something new? Go to a store you are
Mhm.
not used to. Why not? You know, in France, we eat a lot of bread. So
Yes.
it is something that I start to appreciate. So I'm used to go to a few places. So why not going to another one? You know, it's small things that were not a huge impact in my life in case I made a
Yes.
mistake and buy the wrong bread. Let us say something like this. You know, I decided to start small in such a way
Yes.
just to make it so it's not daily. I'm not changing every day, but just try to what if I could
Mhm.
ask and he could answer. And I
Yeah.
started seeing decisions in my day, and I decided that I would do this daily. Ask, I have my agenda, I have my schedule. What if you have something new in mind? You know, small things. And even about buying, I'm not like the who is in stores all the time. But if I have this, what if I would have an ambassador meeting, for example, what I would dress,
Mhm.
and I found something that I feel appropriate, I would buy it because I
Yes.
felt that's exactly how I work. I felt something saying buy it.
Right.
In general,
Right.
the invitation will come later, and I say I know how to dress. I'm ready to, things like this.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
what I encourage. I want to encourage those on this journey. If you are someone who looking for be guided on your journey, yes, find your environment, where you planted, where you listen to, have mentors, as Patrice said. This helps. If you don't belong to this macro environment, I invite you to know a little bit more. That's something I would recommend.
Yes.
Take a look. Another thing that I would encourage you is, for sure, it's good to have this environment, but the decisions are still yours. Our mentors don't decide for us, never. They will help us to ask the questions, but
Help.
never decide. So you
Help.
have to decide by yourself. You have to be ready to take risks, ready to make mistakes as well.
Yes.
Be
Yes.
vulnerable. Be ready to say, I made a mistake. I should not go that way. The day that I accept that I could make a mistake and I could never be perfect, I could never all the times be right, I decided that I would take the risk. So I've made mistakes, things that I said, okay, I should not go that way again. Yes, I've done. And more you go up, more you take risks. Can be financially, maybe can be investing money in something with a partnership. And these people that you're trusting are not paying you back and say, oh, I trust on this client. And now he's trying to negotiate and paying less than what. So I unfortunately have read passed by through this journey. But did I regret? No, I learned. That's something I decided to say, I've learned something from that experience. So I'm raising up and again, and I start again with what can I do different for the next time?
Absolutely.
So that's definitely something I would invite our friends, listeners to do is pay attention for this inner voice that tells you things and invite this inner voice to guide you. You know, it can be a different dress that you're going to put, something, a different color of lipstick, you know, whatever it is. It's more for the girls, they will understand me. But that's something I take small risks in your daily life. And then when you are sure that is what I call is God telling you, go, be sure, never you find everybody that will say amen to this. Never.
Oh boy.
So it's not about is this right or is this wrong? Is this God?
Yes.
You know, that's the question you should ask. And in case you made a mistake, in case you did the decision, in case you take away, it wasn't, you fall down and you say, oh, what I did. Cry 24 hours. Take lessons from this. And after 24 hours, stand up and say, I will rise again and I will try a new way, you know. And if you do something that is right and is amazing, celebrate it. 24 hours, celebrate with all your joy, invite your friends, share through Facebook, whatever you can. And then after 24 hours, raise up and start again. Do not stay in the past. Do not stay to celebrate. Oh, 5 years ago, it was amazing. You were going down if you keep on that. So learn this lesson. Listen to this inner voice. In case you don't know what to do, start small things in your daily life, and then take risks. Try. And if it's wrong, you are going to know. You know. Stand up. After 24 hours, take the lessons and start again. And if it's right, celebrate, share, take notes, and then raise up and start again. Thank you so much, my friend. What is the word that you're going to finish this? What is the last word that you're going to share with those who are listening to us?
Wow. Oh, the last word is, you want me to say one word? That's going to be
a sentence. It can be a sentence.
Okay. Oh gosh, there is more.
I love it.
There is more.
For me, it's going to be dare to take risk. You know, dare to take risk. That's something that I think I'm completely in. Is dare to be you. I could say, but sometimes be us is stay in your comfort zone. So I would say dare to take risk.
Yes.
And learn from it.
And Elisa, it goes so well with there is more. Because if you believe there is more, you have to be prepared to take the risk.
For sure. Let's go après, my friend. So thank you so much, Patricia. Thank you, everyone. And you are having more, that's for sure, because I'm going to invite more amazing women and men around me that were helping me to grow through this journey. And I want to share with you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye. Thanks, Elisa.